Hi there guys, it's a beautiful spring day and lots and lots of wild edibles are coming through, and a bit like the last episode where we looked at lesser celandine and we focused on that specific edible, exploring its nutritional content, how you can process it, how you can identify it and the terrain it grows in. We're going to do the same with another edible today. So we're going to head a bit further down where there's a lot more water and the soil doesn't drain as easily, and have a look at this edible and explore it further. So the plant I've got in my hand here is called wavy bittercress, and wavy bittercress is the member of the Brassicaceae family, which is the mustard family, which is a very common family to kind of see abundantly everywhere in spring, and a very tasty family as well. It requires almost no processing in most cases. So before I go into the identification of wavy bittercress, it has a very similar cousin in the same family, hairy bittercress, and the two are often mistaken, and in field guides you'll generally see them mixed together as opposed to being shown as two separate plants. Now the difference in them is very minute, but wavy bittercress or woodcress you'll often find growing in woodland. Hairy bittercress you generally find growing out on plains and where it gets a lot more sunlight, so it's usually a lot redder because of that sun exposure. I mean, if it's flowering, there's a very easy way of telling the difference. Wavy bittercress has 6 stamens in the flower, whereas hairy bittercress only has 4. And wavy bittercress is given its name simply because of its zigzagging stem, and hairy bittercress is generally a bit straighter. The leaves are hairy, whereas the stem on wavy bittercress is hairy, and it's a much fuller plant, wavy bittercress, much bigger. Hairy bittercress is a lot smaller and it's a lot more dense at the base, whereas on the stem there are very few leaves, and it's pretty much the opposite on wavy bittercress. So it's worth looking into the two, but whatever the environment, you can process them both the same way and the flavour is pretty much identical. So the kind of terrain that wavy bittercress is going to grow in, and its other name is woodcress, is woodland. You'll find it almost everywhere in woodland, and you'll find it where soil doesn't drain very well. So this is very damp soil here. I can see loads of tracks all over the place, and where animals have been coming to drink, and we've obviously got a lot of ramsons around here, wild onion, wild garlic as they call it. It's a very abundant place, and there's plenty of water here, so it's quite clear with this environment and all the sphagnum mosses, the soil doesn't drain very well, so this is a perfect environment for it. And you can see this one's pretty big and it's been doing very well here. So the parts of the world it's going to grow in, it's going to be very common all throughout Europe, very common in the British Isles, grows almost everywhere quite abundantly if the conditions are correct, obviously. But yeah, Europe grows all throughout Europe, provided you're in those kind of conditions, sort of northern temperate zone that's got a bit of dampness to certain areas. You're probably going to find it, it's very likely, as much of its cousins will be there as well in the mustard family, like hedge mustard that's growing all around me everywhere now, but we'll approach that in another video. But I do believe it grows in parts of North America as well, provided the conditions are correct there. So it's a fantastic edible to find simply because of the lack of processing that you can do with it. And it's very tasty, which is a big plus on the side of edible, because lots of things are said to be edible, but they're not always too tasty. So it's nice to find the ones that actually do taste good, because it's encourages you to go out and actually then forage for them. So how are you going to ID the plant? Well, we obviously talked about the distinct differences between hairy bittercress and wavy bittercress. Well, some of the differences anyway, there are some more, but unless you're really interested you can have a look into it. But the processing and ID really is the same with the two plants, which is the great thing about it. But when you look at the lower leaves of the plant, you'll see they're very round and they're a lot bigger than the upper leaves. The lower leaves generally have even up to something like 14-15 lobes on them, with a larger one at the end, and they are a lot rounder and a lot larger. When you go up the stem, you'll see they become really thin near the flower, almost very long and thin, and much smaller as they kind of crowd round the flower head there. The flower has 4 petals, and as I say, on wavy bittercress it has 6 stamens. On hairy bittercress it has 4 stamens, so there is a difference there if you are prepared to check that and it has flowered. But if it hasn't flowered, the leaf is a fantastic way of identifying the plant. It grows out of a central cluster of roots, much in a circular kind of way. A bit like the lesser celandine we looked at, much like dandelion, a single root structure growing out, not like a creeping root, like you see the mint family. but a very easy plant to identify, and a taste test will, you know, help you out. If you just pick the top off and eat it, yeah, very, very tasty, much like watercress in a similar taste, and absolutely delicious just to eat straight off the ground. From a nutritional perspective, the plant is very nutritious. It contains vitamins A, B's, C's and K, and also a good amount of iron and calcium, so worth adding to a varied diet. So in terms of processing, you can pretty much do what you like with it and take artistic license with it. I mean, it's like anything you buy from the shops. You know, you buy a bag of spinach, you might, you know, just blanch it a bit and eat it. You may roast it with some vegetables, you might stir fry it, you might just have it raw in a salad. It really is up to you. You know, it's a very versatile plant and it can be eaten quite easily. I just quite like to steam it a bit and have it with some wood pigeon or a bit of steak, and it really is delicious, and it complements kind of meat very well with that peppery taste. So again, you know, you could dry this as a substitute, for example, much like this mint I've got just here. I dried this last year, and you know, it's kept for about 6 months, still going strong, and you know, you can douse that on various things or have it in teas and rehydrate it. Very easy to dry these plants out, very easy. You just need a lot of airflow rather than heat, to be quite honest. It's more about airflow in the drying process. So that's just really the wavy or hairy bittercress plant, part of the mustard family. I hope you've enjoyed the video and I hope it's helped. Fantastic plant, and you know, as we're well within spring will be gone before you know it, so best to get out now and have a look at these plants while they're still there. But thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.